There is an enemy more frightening than any rival or external threat. The parts of ourselves we refuse to face. We build walls of distraction, denial, or blame to keep these inner shadows out of sight. Yet every fear of the outside world is a mirror of what we fear inside. We dread failure because we secretly doubt our worth. We dread rejection because we suspect we are unlovable. The terror of these possibilities is so strong that we run from our own reflection, inventing enemies in the world rather than confronting the fears that lurk in our minds. The first truth: we fear ourselves because we sense our potential for darkness. Inside every mind lies the possibility of cruelty, envy, weakness, or betrayal. We imagine we are good by nature, yet flashes of anger, spite, or jealousy prove otherwise. Rather than confront these impulses, we bury them, fearing what it would mean if we admitted they were ours. This avoidance lets them grow in the dark, feeding shame until we mistake the impulse for our entire identity. We fear we are not who we want to be, and this fear quietly shapes every decision, pushing us to seek approval, avoid challenges, or sabotage ourselves before our flaws can be exposed. Second truth: we fear ourselves because we are strangers to our own minds. Thoughts arrive unbidden, desires contradict our values, emotions appear without permission. This unpredictability frightens us. If we can't control what we feel or want, who are we really? Are we the anger we felt in that heated moment, the sadness that overwhelmed us out of nowhere, or something deeper beneath these waves? Not knowing fuels anxiety, and so we distract ourselves endlessly to avoid the unsettling question of our own nature. We bury ourselves in noise, social media, endless tasks, gossip, or entertainment, anything that keeps us from facing the reality of who we might be when the noise goes quiet. Third truth: we fear the burden of our own potential. Every dream whispers of greatness, but also of the effort, sacrifice, and risk required to reach it. It's easier to fear failure than to take responsibility for trying. The possibility that we might truly succeed and have to grow beyond comfort can be even more terrifying than failure itself. So we sabotage ourselves quietly, choosing mediocrity over the pain of transformation. We pretend we don't care about our dreams, mock ambition as arrogance, or label opportunities as unrealistic, all to protect ourselves from the terror of falling short or the demands of rising higher. We also fear our inner contradictions. We can be both compassionate and selfish, brave and cowardly, wise and foolish, sometimes in the same hour. This inconsistency challenges the illusion of a stable, predictable self. Most people cling to labels to avoid this discomfort. I am a good person, I am a victim, I am strong, or I am kind. But these identities crack when reality shows our contradictions, and the fear of seeing ourselves in full complexity keeps us trapped in rigid masks. We edit our memories to preserve a consistent story, even if it's not true, because admitting the full, messy truth would shatter the image we show to the world and to ourselves. Another source of self-fear is the hidden cost of our choices. We remember the moments we betrayed our values, the lie we told to avoid conflict, the kindness we withheld out of pettiness, the opportunity we ignored because of doubt. Consciously or not, we know these choices accumulate and shape our lives, and we dread the reckoning. The possibility of seeing the cumulative weight of every compromise terrifies us, so we bury the memory of each small surrender until they return as guilt, regret, or unexplained sadness that colors our days. We fear our capacity for self-deception most of all. The mind is a master storyteller, weaving rationalizations to avoid pain or responsibility. We fear that we can fool ourselves so thoroughly that we no longer know what's true, that we can live entire years pursuing goals that aren't ours, relationships that numb us, or beliefs that justify our weakness, all while convincing ourselves we are awake and righteous. This fear of being our own jailer, of building our own prison brick by brick without realizing it, is paralyzing. It makes us doubt every choice, every feeling, every plan until we hesitate to move at all. We also fear the vastness of our own potential. Greatness demands sacrifice, dedication, and courage. To accept our potential means accepting that we must change, Let go of comforts, endure failures, face criticism, and persist when nothing comes easy. It means admitting we are capable of much more than we allow ourselves to believe. But potential unclaimed becomes a source of torment, whispering in moments of quiet, reminding us of what we could have been if we had been braver. Yet this fear has a purpose. It protects us from rushing into illusions of perfection, humility, or righteousness. Fear of ourselves invites caution, a necessary pause before we act. But unchecked, it becomes a prison, keeping us small, reactive, and dependent on approval or distraction. Mastery begins when we name the parts we fear: anger, envy, laziness, cruelty, cowardice. When we see them without judgment, they lose power to control us. Awareness turns the terrifying unknown into something we can understand and work with. By shining light into the darkest corners of our minds, we reclaim the energy spent avoiding them. The strongest mind chooses to make peace with its darkness. Instead of pretending flaws don't exist, it studies them, asks where they come from, and decides whether to heal or harness them. Anger can be refined into assertiveness. Envy can become inspiration. Fear can fuel preparation. The mind that embraces its full range gains flexibility and resilience, because nothing within is off limits to growth. When you stop fearing what you find inside, you gain freedom no one can give or take away. Strategic self-honesty transforms fear into power. It lets you anticipate your weak points before others can exploit them. It prevents you from projecting your fears onto innocent people or creating enemies where there are none. It teaches you that self-respect doesn't mean denying your flaws, but owning them so they cannot own you. It means knowing exactly what you're capable of, both good and bad, and choosing the direction of your actions rather than drifting between impulses. To master fear of yourself, you must spend time in silent reflection, confronting what you avoid. You must sit with the discomfort of your contradictions, your impulses, your wounds, and keep looking until they lose the power to scare you. This is not a one-time event, but a lifelong practice, because the self is always evolving, and new fears will arise with every stage of life. The more you grow, the more you will face old shadows in new forms, testing your commitment to honesty and courage again and again. Leaving the fear unexamined keeps you small. Facing it expands your freedom. You learn that you are not your worst thought or darkest feeling. You are the awareness that sees them come and go. This detachment frees you from false identities, letting you choose your actions consciously instead of reacting from hidden terror. It teaches you that discomfort is not your enemy, but your guide, pointing to places where growth is waiting. Those who do this work carry an aura of quiet power. They cannot be manipulated by flattery or threats because they know their insecurities intimately. They do not seek constant validation because they have seen their emptiness and learned to fill it from within. Their courage is not loud but unshakable because they know the worst in themselves and still stand tall. They are dangerous in the best way because they move through life with clarity, not burdened by the need to prove anything to anyone. In the end, why do we fear ourselves? Because we sense our power, and power unacknowledged is dangerous. We fear our power to destroy relationships, to waste our potential, to deceive ourselves, to remain stuck when we could rise. But when you face that truth fully, you no longer hide from who you are, and no one can use your hidden fears against you. Mastering this fear frees you to shape your destiny with eyes wide open, heart steady, and mind clear. Because only those who make peace with themselves can move freely through the world. Only those who stop fearing their inner storms can chart their course through life's chaos without being thrown off course by every gust of emotion or shifting opinion. When you know yourself deeply, light and dark, strength and weakness, you become unshakable. You stand grounded in your truth, able to adapt, to forgive, to lead, and to live without regret. So do not run from your fear of yourself. Walk straight into it. Listen to what it tells you about the work still left to do. Let it strip away illusions, teach humility, and reveal the raw power hidden beneath your masks. Because on the other side of that fear lies a self that cannot be conquered, only chosen every day as the foundation for a life of strength, freedom, and purpose.